Yeah, Seton Hall is a top half of the bracket team. I've got them as a 7 right now, which is borderline top 25. The number 25 team for the committee will be the top 7 seed. So they've had a really good year in the Big East. They've picked up quality wins all along the way. They don't really have much in the way of bad losses that damage them to the point where you'd have to see them in the bottom half of the bracket. And that'll be the case as long as they avoid that in this tournament.
Seton Hall's won 5 in a row, and as you can see, on pace to wear the home whites in the first round of the NCAA tournament and avoid losing to Georgetown, and that will certainly be the case here. Jared Rhoden's a player to watch. Seton Hall would be my dark horse pick, I guess, to win the Big East tournament, although I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to take UConn to win the whole thing. But yeah, this is a good team to keep an eye out for, and Pirates fans are going to show up plenty at MSG. I'm excited to potentially see them when I get to the building on Thursday. Other side of that, real quick, though, is Georgetown has not won a Big East game the entire season. Patrick Ewing's immensely disappointing season could come to an end here on Wednesday against Seton Hall. And if that happens, all indications are that Patrick Ewing is going to stay on and return to coach Georgetown next season. And if that indeed does happen, Patrick Ewing would become just the 4th coach in the past 27 seasons to go winless in conference play and keep his job at the power conference level the ensuing season.
Staying in the Big East, Xavier, a 6.5-point favorite over Butler this afternoon. But Jerry, look, they're on the bubble. They've lost 5 of their past 6. What do they need to do in this tournament to try to improve their chances?
Yeah, it's even worse than that. They lost 7 out of 8 prior to beating Georgetown on the final day of the regular season. And, some of these losses, they've been playing their way down the bracket, and now they're in a little bit of trouble. If they lose to Butler today, it's going to be a very nervous selection Sunday for Xavier. I think if they win, they're in. But if they lose, they might be in a position where they make the tournament, but they just drive up the road to Dayton and play on Tuesday or Wednesday. They've done a lot of damage over the last few weeks to this tournament resume with all of these losses.
Plenty of pressure on Travis Steele, Xavier coach. He took over for Chris Mack. He hasn't had an NCAA tournament level team since that happened, and Xavier entered the season. I thought Xavier was going to be the 2nd best team in this league behind Villanova. Has not gone that way, and I don't think Travis Steele's job is in jeopardy or anything like that, but I can tell you that the Xavier fan base rightfully is agitated because this is a program. You go look past the over 30, 40 years, Xavier's making the NCAAs regardless of its conference affiliation more often than not, and since it got to the Big East, that has certainly been the case there. So that's a program accustomed to making the NCAAs and on occasion making runs there. Huge game, no doubt about it. Whether or not Xavier will get in, if it loses to Butler, that's remaining to be seen. Just my personal opinion, if Xavier does not beat Butler, it does not, in my opinion, it does not deserve to make the NCAA tournament. Steele and that staff know this is a huge one. They got to have it here on Wednesday.
Well, like we said, a 6.5-point favorite. We'll see what they can do this afternoon. Jerry, we talked about some of the teams in the Big East, but right now you are looking at 7 of them to be in the field when it comes to Sunday.
Yeah, and almost all of them are in the top half of the bracket, really, other than Xavier. It's been a very good year for the Big East. We're talking 7 of 11 teams in the NCAA tournament, assuming that Xavier is able to get in. So it's a very strong year for this league. It's probably underrated because, the Big 12 has been so dominant, and they're going to put 6 of their 10 in. And the SEC at the top half of that league has been terrific this year. And the Big East doesn't really have a team that's a threat to be a number 1 seed. But the depth of this league has been really strong this year, and you're going to see a lot of Big East teams playing probably into the second weekend.
You see Marquette and Creighton right there as 9 seeds. Let's give a lot of love to Shaka Smart and Greg McDermott. Shaka Smart was not expected to have a tournament team in his first season. No shot. Creighton had to replace its entire starting 5 from a season ago, and those 2 teams fittingly will face off in the quarters tomorrow at Madison Square Garden. Just great job by both of those coaches. And, as Jerry mentioned, 7 teams, Amanda mentioned 7 teams projected. I do think Xavier is going to beat Butler. I want to be clear on that. So I think Xavier will beat Butler, and it'll have enough to squeak in. That'll be 7. And oh, by the way, since the Big East reformed, the Catholic 7 broke off when we had that huge conference realignment about a decade ago. Big East has averaged more than 5 bids per season since it reformed. So this is above average, but at the same time, it's not like this conference has struggled annually year over year and has only been putting 2 or 3 into the field. The Big East has done quite well for itself, and with UConn back in, well, I'd argue this is as anticipated of a Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden in about a decade.
Matt, you're going to be there right now. Nova is plus 130 to win the Big East. Who do you think comes out on top?
I'm actually going to take UConn because I think between Providence, Villanova, and UConn, all those teams have a pretty solid shot. Providence is going to be the 1 seed in this tournament for the first time in its program's history. But I like what UConn has in its starting 5: athleticism, size, decent shooting. Can RJ Cole be consistent? That's the big key. But I can't overstate this. UConn fans have not gotten a chance to attend a Big East tournament game and root for their team in almost a decade. There were no fans in the building a year ago at MSG when UConn was there. So I think that the fan contingent factor, I can't wait to get to the Garden. It's going to be absolutely electric. So I'm not overly confident in the pick, Amanda, but I will take the Huskies to beat Villanova in the semis and then beat Providence in the championship game.
We'll see if those UConn fans show up. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.